This morning we're doing, it's not timed, but we are going through reps. So we're doing a little rep pyramid. So we're going to do 6 of all of those exercises, and then we're going to do 8, and then we're going to do 10, 12, and then on back down 10, 8, 6. So the first one is a lateral bound. That's a step or a hop from side to side, right? So it can be anywhere between a step and sticking your landing to a full hop side to side. So that's the lateral bound. Anything that has both directions, we're going to do 6 each, 8 each, 10 each. Okay, so we start with 6 on that one. Goblet squat, pretty standard at this point. Push up and touch. So just to review, this is one we don't use quite as much. But the reason I like it is because not only do you get the push up, but you also get like a floor slide. It's kind of an upside down floor slide. So the push up and touch is you go down in the push up all the way to the floor, and then keeping your hands off the floor, we reach forward, touch as far in front of you as you can, come back, bring your hands under your armpits, and push back up. Okay, so it's kind of like a push up and a floor slide mixed. Okay, so that's the push up and touch. Deadlift or swing. Okay, we're there by now. It's just making sure both of those movements, the hip hinge is the most important, so we want to make sure the hips are pushing back. If you're doing a deadlift, the weight should track really close to your shins. So if you think about your pinkies running right down the inside of your leg, you'll end up in pretty much the right place. You can turn that into a swing if you're a swing person. It'll make it go a little bit faster. But if you're a low back risk with the swing, just turn it into a deadlift. It's just a little bit slower. Alternating side plank, you can do that. I'll probably do that with straight arms just because it's easier to transition. We start with in that side plank position, and then rolling, both hands go to the floor, and we switch. Okay, so on that one, make sure you get all the way to shoulders stacked up on top of each other. Okay, so that's what we got for today. Let's go ahead and jump on the roller. Take 1 minute here and just roll what you feel like needs to be rolled the most. For me, it's going to be hips today. As usual. Remember, really, in the beginning here, just want to kind of give everything a once over. Find the areas that give you a little bit of a jump. All right, so if it feels like if you're giving like your calves or the back of your legs are rolling, it doesn't really feel like it's doing much. You give it 1 or 2 passes, just go ahead and move on, because it's probably means that you're in pretty good shape in that spot. All right, so let's give a little extra special attention to your hip flexor today. So on the roll, we're gonna spend a little bit more time like right up here by your waistband. So between the crest of your hip and on the front of your leg there. That's a spot that can get really tight, especially if you're seated a lot. So we wanna make sure we give those tissues a roll, and then we're gonna stretch them next. So basically rolling the front of your leg here. And let's switch sides. The other benefit to rolling, in fact, we'll go right into a hip flexor stretch here. The other benefit to rolling is that it kind of modulates the nervous system, so it's going to allow you to stretch more. So when you put this pressure on and you're rolling up and down, it kind of lets things relax and ease up a little bit. So then when we do go into the stretch, you might find that you have a little bit more range, or you feel like the stretch is working a little bit better. So let's come up to one knee, keeping your tailbone tucked under. Hands can come up over your head. We're just going to tilt and hold. So the trick here is keeping your tailbone tucked as you tilt. So back to the rolling discussion. If you were to be standing and you do like a regular bend over and touch your toes kind of stretch, if you were to do that and maybe you get to, I don't know, right around your ankles or something, and then you roll for 15, 20 seconds, if you were to take a roller and roll up and down the back of your legs, I bet the next time you go down, you'd get closer to your toes or touch your toes. So the rolling just has a way of allowing you to stretch better, because it just takes your nerves from, being tight and keeping you bound up to allowing you to stretch a little bit more. Let's switch knees. Remember, we're keeping that tailbone tucked down. Once you get your stretch, hands come up over your head. Stay nice and tall. But then we're going to tilt and try to point your ear and your elbow down at the ground. You should be tilting away from your down leg, so we get a nice stretch up that side of your body. All right, let's go hands to the floor. Keep your knees right where they are, or keep your legs right where they are. We're going to go hands to the floor. And a couple things, we're going to be pushing your hips down toward the floor. Kind of settling into that stretch. Probably get a stretch on the front of your hip and then under this leg that's in front. And from here, let's plant like whatever hand is closest to your foot. We're going to rotate up, point those fingertips at the ceiling. And we just rotate through 6 or 8 of those. And good, let's switch sides. And we're trying to push your hips down towards the floor. If it helps to have a roller under you, kind of push your chest up a little bit more. You'll just put your hands on the roller and push yourself away. All right, let's go hand to the floor. Hand closest to your foot, the forward foot. It's going to rotate up. And good. Let's go feet back into a push-up position. Both feet back, and then hands in front in the push-up position. You're going to walk your hands into your feet. Feel that hamstring stretch at the top. And then we walk it back out into a push-up position. So we'll do that 5 times. Walking in, get a quick hamstring stretch on both sides. And we walk hands back out. And good. From there, we'll go ahead and stand. All right, we're going to work into some reverse lunges here, but we're going to take opposite knee, press into your hand. Okay, so right now I'm just keeping my right arm locked. I'm going to bring my left knee up, push into the heel of my hand, and then take my left leg back for a reverse lunge. And we'll work through those. So as you squeeze together, you're thinking about using your core to squeeze together. It shouldn't just be like your hip flexor bringing your knee up. Okay, we want to get here, and then we're really going to push your shoulder, really rotate your shoulder. So you should feel that across your core from your hip across to your opposite shoulder. And let's switch sides. So by squeezing and really driving your opposite shoulder into your knee, we're turning on all those rotation muscles, or the muscles that are resisting rotation, I guess, and kind of turning on your core, getting ready for those push-ups and the alternating side planks. And good. So let's alternate lateral lunges. So we step out to the side, step out to the other side. And good to go. Okay, so let me put everything in one more time. Just as a reminder, this is an untimed circuit, so we're not keeping time on this one, but we're doing 6 reps, 8 reps, and 10, 12, and then on back down, 8, 10, 6, or sorry, 10, 8, 6. Lateral bound is a step or a hop. You choose. Goblet squat is a goblet squat. Push up and touch. If the touch just doesn't work for you, we can just separate it. So do push-ups, and then you can roll over and do a floor slide. If for whatever reason the reaching above, or just omit the touch altogether, if that's not working for you. Deadlift and swing, or deadlift or swing, and alternating side planks. So everything's in the chat there. We should have everybody on board at this point. I'll be going at sort of a medium speed, I guess. If you want to go ahead, go ahead. If you want to take your time, take your time. And we'll bang this out in probably around 22 to 25 minutes, somewhere in there. Okay. All right, so we're going to start with the lateral bound. Go at your speed. You're adjusting these as you need to. Okay, so starting in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Lateral bound, jumping or stepping side to side. And we got 6 each. Moving into the goblet squat. Remember, for the goblet squat, if holding here doesn't work, holding up for that goblet hold, you can keep it low. Just make sure your chest stays up as you squat. If your chest is facing forward, basically if your chest is facing forward, it's a squat. If your chest is facing the floor, it's more of a deadlift. So that's kind of the distinction there. Push up and touch. So we go all the way down to the floor. Reaching those hands out in front of you, tap the floor in front of you, and then back up under your armpits to push up. To modify these, you would just come up from your knees. You can still reach out. If that's just 100% uncomfortable, you can omit the reach, so just don't reach. We'll just do the push-ups. SLDL or swinger next. Pushing those hips back. If you're doing the if you're doing not SLDL, deadlift. If you're doing the deadlift, pushing those hips back so the weight taps right in between your ankles, keeping your back nice and flat. You will have some knee bend here. Last one, alternating side plank. If the alternating part doesn't work, you can, or if the side plank part doesn't work, you can just go here and modify it by keeping your hands closer to the floor. So you might just turn a little bit instead of all the way, or you can even keep both hands on the floor and just turn side to side. But really what we're looking for is turning, stacking those shoulders right up on top of each other. Right now we're working 6 each side. Okay, working back to the top for 8s. So after your 8 goblet squats, you're going into the push up and touch. There's kind of a lot of up and down in this circuit, which is okay. I'm working my way into 8 deadlifts here. So if you're with me, we're probably going at a medium pace. If you're ahead of me, you're moving a little bit faster. And if you're not quite there yet, no big deal. We're all just working our way through. Alternating side plank for 8. On this side plank, the balls of your feet will basically stay in the same spot. Just let your feet turn and fall to the ground. The other part about those alternating side planks that's just a little bit tricky is you want to make sure your hips aren't leading you, right? So your hips shouldn't be ahead of you. Everything should roll as one nice, even unit, not like a log rolling over. Okay, I'm up to 10 lateral bounds. On the goblet squat, check in, make sure your feet are pressing nice and evenly into the floor. Okay, 10 push up and touch. Swing or deadlift is next. So whether you're doing the swing or the deadlift, whenever the weight is at the bottom or whenever you're hinged over, you should kind of be using the tension in the back of your knee or back of your legs here as kind of a rubber band to help you spring back either up or forward. So I'll give myself a little stretch. Use that stretch to help me stand back up. All right, alternating side plank is next. Part of the challenge here is this just takes kind of a long time to do. But stick with it. Make sure the form is good. It's not about how fast you finish, it's about how well you do it. Okay, working my way to the big ones here, 12s. 12 lateral bounds. Here we go. As you're doing your goblet squats, check in, make sure your shins are parallel to each other. So regardless of how you do it, if you have a narrow stance or a little bit wider stance, your knees should not be leaning in towards each other. Make sure your shins are parallel. Push up and touch is next for me. Like I said, if the push up and touch bothers your ribs being on the floor or your shoulder by reaching out, just take the touch out. And then maybe after your set of push-ups, you can roll over to a floor slide, just so we get some of that that kind of action at your shoulders. Twelve swings or deadlifts. Remember, on the swings and deadlifts, we want more hip bend than knee bend. So even if you're swinging, we really want you to end up about here, not here with your chest up. So when that weight's back, you're gonna have your hips bent more than your knees, if that makes sense. Okay, I'm working my way back down the back side of the pyramid. Going to tens. Just checking in here, guys. How's everybody doing? I haven't heard any complaints yet, so that's good. So we doing all right? I guess I didn't hear any complaints because I muted everybody. Ten push-up and touch is next for me. Again, we're all going to be at different places, which is okay. Number one thing, if you're doing the push-up and touch, whether you have knees down or if you're in a standard push-up, belly needs to be super strong when you leave the floor so you aren't like doing the worm up off the floor. You want everything to come up as one nice even piece. So as soon as you press into the floor, everything should be coming up with you. I'm working into 10 side planks here. Sometimes it's nice on these circuits that aren't timed or that don't have intervals. I try to coach through them, but some people might be in different places, but sometimes it's nice just to do your own work, and as long as you feel comfortable with the exercises, kind of disappear a little bit, do your own work, go at your speed. It feels a little bit more like your workout. So we do these from time to time. I do prefer to keep everybody together, but it's nice to do your own thing sometimes. And working into 8 lateral bounds here. Eight squats. Keep your feet pressed nice and flat into the floor. Try to make your elbows point down at the floor. Eight push up and touch. 8 swings coming up. Okay, I'm back to the top here. Starting with 6 lateral bounds. This is my last set. I'm going to take a little second here and write down some names. All right, I'm starting 6 lateral bounds. After the goblet squat, 6 push-ups. Six swings or deadlifts. Six alternating side plank to finish. Just checking in to see where everybody is. Hopefully I don't see too many people waiting on me. like everybody is waiting on me. That's good. Means you guys are in better shape than I am. That's good. That's the dream, right? That's the hope for me, anyway. All right, so just taking a little time, start to get your breath back before you rush off to the next thing. Take a little bit of time to appreciate the work, appreciate how you started your day. I read something yesterday, talked about studies that show that the more you believe in the efficacy of exercise, the more you get out of it. So if you believe that you are just doing this because you have to and you're just slugging away at it and it's not something you particularly enjoy, it's kind of sometimes an uphill battle. But if you believe in the benefits of what you're doing, if you believe that you get a lot out of this, you tend to get a lot more out of it. More happiness, more results, better blood markers, all those things. So if you believe in the power of starting your day like this or including this as a part of your day, you actually get a lot more out of it. So take a little second here just to appreciate the work that you've done, appreciate the benefits from it as you're getting your breath back. If you're seated, let's go ahead and stand. If you're lying down on your back, let's go ahead and come up to a seated position. So we're just moving up one step. Check in with your posture as you're standing, making sure that think of like shoulders being pulled down to the floor, not back. So it's not this. We don't need like Superman pose, but just pulling shoulders down away from your ears, getting as tall as you can get, top of your head up towards the sky, not letting your tailbone fly away behind you, keeping things nice and level underneath your underneath your core. Take about 5 more breaths. Consciously slowing that heart rate down. And done. Okay. Everybody have an excellent day. We will see you for real, maybe, tomorrow. Like actual people. It'll be fun. So the classes will resume on Thursday. Check the schedule. There is no wait list, you might notice, just because we don't want to run the risk of ending up with 6 or 7 or 8 people there. So we took the wait list off. So please, if you sign up, make sure you are either attending that class or canceling early enough to allow other people to schedule. So you're muted, Ted. Are you asking me a question, Ted? I'll see you in an email. All right. Okay, guys, have a great day. We'll see you soon.